How you doing, YouTube? My name is Daniel Myers. I own the DFW Handyman, and I'm going to start making some videos for other small business owners, service business owners, handyman, HVAC, electric, plumbing, pool cleaning, lawn care, pool clean. I already said pool cleaning. Whatever you guys do, where you're out in a truck in a van, like me, out driving around serving customers, and yeah. Just want to introduce myself and tell you guys a little bit about what I've done, where I come from, who I am, and I guess what I've done in my life that got me to here of owning my handyman business. So this is being filmed March of 2025, and this is my second handyman business. I'll get back to that in a minute. Yeah, so I started, like probably most of y'all, started doing stuff around the neighborhood when I was a teenager. When I was 14, I'd been mowing my yard since I was tall enough to look over the handles of the lawnmower, and my dad swore off mowing the yard. It was my job now. So I've been doing that, obviously taking care of my yard, eating, weed eating, edging, all that kind of stuff, and then turned 14, and people started to hire me to do their yards when they were out of town, or just whenever they didn't want to. And then I started fixing gates and fences, and then I started doing landscaping and fixing sprinkler heads that were broken. I never broke them, but they were broken. And just doing little stuff like that, handyman stuff now looking back. And so started doing that, and then that quickly snowballed into soffit, fascia, trim, gutter downspouts. Like I said, landscaping, a little bit of irrigation. And then my neighbor across the street, he didn't want to admit that he owned a handyman business, but he really did. At that time, this is the late 90s, handyman was still like a derogatory term, if you will. And so he didn't want to call himself a handyman. He was a construction company. But then he also did a lot of welding and stuff, big metal rolling gates, which is cool. And he made a lot of iron artwork and, various stuff that he would go sell at, these art shows and stuff. And that was cool. And so I worked for him for many years, learning a whole bunch of stuff. And really, one thing I learned from him is just how to treat people and how to, take care of customers so that you could keep your schedule full just by word of mouth. And that's what he did. He did zero advertising, at least any that I ever saw. Maybe he did, but I never saw any of it. I never heard mention of any of it. And really and truly, this is also before the days when internet advertising was big, right? This is late 90s, early 2000s. And the internet just really, we had the internet, but it wasn't a thing, So word of mouth, your reputation, that kind of thing is what used to carry people, and I still believe in it today. I believe internet marketing and the social media stuff and any amount of marketing has its place, but I still rely heavily on relationships, on my reputation, word of mouth, networking, that kind of thing. Mostly because it's low cost, but also, I would rather walk into a house where the customer called me based off of a referral than the customer calling me off of an ad, because then if they call me off of an ad, they're expecting a salesman. If they are calling me from a personal referral by friends, family, colleagues, real estate agents, I already have a personal connection or a personal relationship with them before I even walk in. And so my close rates are phenomenal. So anyways, a little tangent there, but worked for that guy for many years, and then I branched out and I went to work for other people. I went to work for myself. I started picking up my own clients, started doing my own work, and I just kind of floated. I just kind of meandered my way through life, you know, making rent payments, paying utilities, maybe like a week late or before they got shut off, and just kind of wandered through life and didn't really have any purpose or plan or anything besides making it to Friday or the end of the month. So that's what I did for many years, and while I wish I had a purpose or a plan or some kind of like guiding light back then, I don't regret it because it pulled me in all kinds of different directions. I did all kinds of weird stuff in odd jobs and stuff that people just don't even think about how to make money. I mean, at one point I was working with a guy and I drove a pickup truck around with a flatbed trailer, and we had a route for a commercial property management company, and I was patrolling the parking lots and like behind the buildings, picking up trash and picking up the stuff that other people dump illegally. Couches, furniture, trash bags. The dumpster gets over full. Well, the trash truck will not dump it if it's over full because they're going to make a mess, and then it's their fault. And so, we would get those calls. I would get those calls to come meet the trash guy there, unload part of the dumpster. Some of it's gross, especially restaurant trash is disgusting. But you clean up, you haul all the extra bags off. He dumps the bin. Then I throw everything back in the bin, and then he dumps it again, and that way all their trash is gone. So problem solved, right? And I get to make $100, and I'm there for an hour. So that was cool. And like I said, I just kind of wandered aimlessly, and I had a couple of W-2 jobs along the way. One of them was an industrial maintenance company, which I still can't believe I got hired on there, but I did. I guess I interview well. And man, I worked on 10,000 horsepower electric motors. I worked on air chillers that were about a third of the size of my house. They would cool 1 million cubic feet of air per hour from over 100 degrees to 40 degrees. It was just crazy industrial stuff, and it was a cryogenic facility, so we made liquid nitrogen, liquid oxygen, argon, compressed hydrogen. It was crazy stuff. That was really cool. But eventually I left. So all of that to say, I just wandered through life. I just wandered through doing facilities maintenance and mechanical maintenance and home repairs and commercial build outs. I've got a funny story about a commercial build out I'll tell one day. And yeah, it all kind of led to sitting at the house, and I had a few medical issues with my eyes. I had a couple of bacterial infections, which sucked. And then I'm sitting at the kitchen table at my girlfriend's house, and I had put in, I tell myself 35 applications. I might have put in more applications and just was hearing nothing back from anybody. Not even denial letters, nothing, just crickets, absolutely nothing. And so put in all those applications, was hearing nothing back, was getting really discouraged, very depressed. And she just mentioned to me kind of on a whim, why don't you start a little handyman business? My girlfriend was in real estate. She's my wife now, by the way. And she's in real estate. And she mentioned, hey, why don't you start a little handyman business and just start doing all the little home repairs that these home sellers, need to do or the buyers want done as part of the purchase process until, and I would never forget this part, until you find a job. All right, yeah, sounds good. I've got all the tools. I've got everything I need. I can throw them in my pickup truck, and I figured, hell, $60 an hour would be okay. Um, and so yeah, so I started a little handyman business, and I started that in September, and by the end of that year, 2018, come note December, I had not taken a single day off. I had worked 7 days a week, and I was scheduled out for 2 to 3 weeks. So it was an instant success, which takes me back to what I talked about a few minutes ago: networking, 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 networking. I was affordable, I was available, I was professional, and I am really, really picky about the stuff I do. I am a perfectionist. To my detriment, but I am. So I was busy instantly, and I had clients. I had reputation. I had relationships instantly. It was built in automatically, and that was cool. That was really cool. It was really fun to get started like that and feel an instant sense of satisfaction, of gratification, and it just kind of dawned on me, like I've been saying in the video, I've done so many different things. I have such a wide breadth of experience of things I've at least done once or twice, and I know that I can do. And I also know what I'm not good at. I know what I hate doing, and then I also know what I'm technically not legally allowed to do, and I stay within those parameters. Things that I don't want to do, things that take me too long. I'm extremely, extremely inefficient at tile, mostly because I am so damn picky. It's got to be perfect. I just don't do tile. I'll do tile patches, like a broken tile or two, but I'm not tiling laundry room floors or bathroom floors. Nope, don't touch any of that kind of stuff. I don't touch carpet. Never have. Never wanted to. I don't like it. I don't. I just don't want to do it. I don't do anything with pools. I stay away from pools. I hardly ever even get in pools. I just don't care about pools at all. I really don't like steep roofs. I've got a family to feed. I'll let other people climb really steep roofs. I'll get on mine because it's a 70s six pitch, and that's good. I'm fine with that. But yeah, so I'm not legally allowed to do any, what I call in the wall plumbing. So I'll change a faucet or a disposal, and that's about it. Electrical the same way. I'll change a light fixture or ceiling fan, but I'm not changing switches. I'm not changing GFCI plugs. I'm not running new circuits, and I'm not even moving plugs. I won't even take the responsibility for that. Nothing. Stay way clear of that. And so yeah, so I defined my services. I stuck to my services, and being in the trades like I was for so long, having a general contracting business, working for somebody else's general contracting business, I had contacts. I had a little black book of referrals of people that my buddy liked, that worked for him constantly, and so I just called them up and said, "Hey, here I got this job for you." And yeah, so it was cool, and did that solid full time. I made more money than I had ever made in my entire life. It was phenomenal, and because I was making more money than I had ever seen in my entire life, I hired a virtual CFO to go through my finances with me and teach me about money, because I knew how to do the work, I knew how to make the money, but I had a couple of questions about exactly how I was making the money and how I can not keep having to trade my time for money forever, because I know that this kind of work does have an expiration date on it. So worked with him for a few months, and then my career took a weird left turn. I went and met with the software company I use, Field Pulse, to run my business. Had a long meeting with them about product and clicking on buttons and how things should be, and how we trades guys would like something to be, and why this is important and this and that. it was a good conversation. And yeah, walking out, they mentioned doing some other work for them and doing some, social media stuff or coaching or something, and whatever that might turn out to be. And so I appreciated the offer, and we parted ways, and I went back to work. And a few more months went by, and I started to think, I wonder what they mean by that. What does that really mean? I was really starting to get burned out um, of just working all the time. I didn't have an outlet. Um, I didn't have any hobbies. I didn't have a big friend group. I had no way to release the pressure of doing the work. And so I called up the CEO of that software company, Field Pulse, and had a conversation, and we came to an agreement, and it was great. It was very interesting. I could not help but be very interested in what that career could be like. And so I gracefully called a lot of my customers and closed the business down over about the terms of, I don't know, a month and a half. Excuse me. And shut it down and went to work for a software company. I was a construction guy, a trades guy working at a tech company. What? So that lasted a couple years, about 2.5 years. We just parted ways. It was the best experience leaving a job that I think anybody in the history of working jobs has ever had. We shook hands. We're still friends. I left. They, didn't want to see me go. Took care of me, and it wasn't that bad. And I left for a couple of reasons, which I won't get into here, but I also felt the fire coming back deep down in here that I needed to get back to work for myself. I needed to feel the sense of accomplishment, the sense of purpose. I need that to be USA, to be content. So that's the decision I made, and it's a little scary going, because now we've got a 3-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter, we've got a house, we've got a mortgage, we've got daycare, we've got a life to pay for, and at a time in our country's history where things are getting tougher and tougher to afford. I just did it, and I just did it. I just left, and then spent a couple months during the winter time, from November of 24 to now March 25. First of all, I took a couple of months off and not really did anything, which was so weird, because I've never taken time off like that in my life. I have just worked my entire life. My wife has a really well-paying job, and so we're not financially, strapped or stressed. Our bills are paid for, which is cool, and it kind of gives me some time to get this business ramped back up. So I'm coming off of being relaxed, like an extended vacation, which was cool. I never had that in my entire life, man, ever. And so, yeah, so I'm back. DFW Handyman is back. I kept my business paperwork alive, my LLC, that was still filed, still a legal entity, all that kind of stuff. So all I had to do was, kind of restart it. Not that there was really anything to do. Thankfully, the website developer who built my website did a fantastic job. They still had the website. They still had the file for it. So all I had to do was repurchase the domain and get it going and, hook it back up and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. and bought a van. I actually found the exact same van, just a newer model. There's a local mechanical company around town that they probably have 100 vans, and so they constantly sell them at auction. When they depreciate out of their fleet. And so I found one for sale. It's in decent shape. It's a little rough around the edges, but I don't mind. It's got 217,000 miles on it. I don't mind. Less than $10,000. Yeah, it's a heck of a lot better than 60, 70, $80,000 for some of these vans. And so I bought a used van. I called the company that puts the graphics, the wrap on my vehicle, which is just vinyl lettering. It's not graphics. Calm down. Vinyl lettering on the van. They still have my file from when I got the van lettered the first time. Great. I just had to change the phone number, change a few little odds and ends details that I wanted different, and took it over there. And for less than $1,000, boom, put the vinyl lettering on there for me. It's great. Still had all my big major tools, which is another, I want to say, smart thing that I did was when I shut the business down, I kept most of the big expensive tools that I had bought. So my welder, my paint sprayer, my miter saw, my table saw, all my cordless stuff, other various tools. I just put them in plastic bins, and well, I use all the cordless stuff around the house, doing stuff around the house, but yeah, I kept all that stuff. And so I really didn't have any startup costs with tools. But that's this time. The first time I started my business, I just had a couple of hand tools. I had simple stuff. And so that's one thing that I can offer you guys, anybody who wants to listen, is I've done it both ways. I've started the business with nothing, with $0 in my pocket except for gas, and been able to show up at someone's house and do work and get paid, and buy tools as I go. And then I've also started up a business with some capital and having to wisely spend every single dollar of having some startup capital. So I've got two perspectives on that now. So all that to say, DFW Handyman is back. I'm back in business. I couldn't be more excited. I'm happy. I kept my customer list. I downloaded my customer list. Started calling them back. So far, I'm about an 80% success rate, calling customers back and them being excited, remembering who I am, excited that I'm back, and two of them scheduled me for jobs right there on the spot because they were just so excited I was back. So I'm off to a good start. But at the same time that I'm calling those customers back, I'm still going to go back and do the exact same thing I did before because it worked. So I'm going to go back to real estate agents. I'm going to go back to other trade businesses. I'm going to work on that networking, on getting those referrals, on making those relationships of being a quality referral for other people. So here we go. Stay tuned. I want to make some videos for you guys in the future on different topics, various topics, finances. I don't finance anything. I don't do debt. Finances, price book, doing the work, scheduling the work, talking to the customers, just all of the intangible things that go into doing the work, because I'm not going to tell you how to do your work, how to do trim, how to do drywall. I'm not an instructional video. I want to give you guys the secret sauce, if you will, of what it takes to run a successful small service business. And I know everybody says this, and for some people it's true, and for some people it's not so true. I'm not going to lie about my successes, failures, things I screw up, have to go back, have to afford to be able to do it again. I give a warranty on all the work that I do, everything. So stay tuned. See you later.